Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum everyone. Good day to everyone here. Thank you for tuning in to our webinar session and welcome. My name is Kamarina Razali and I will be the moderator for today along with my partner Azimah Zainab. So before I introduce our respectable guests, allow me to briefly explain our webinar topic for today. So our topic is based on the 8 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is decent work and economic growth. This goal, it promotes inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, as well as decent work for all women and men, including persons with disabilities. And our topic for today, it exclusively highlights on sustainable employment for youth with autism. This month, which is the fourth month of the year, which is April, is Autism Awareness Month. Therefore, we are especially honored to have this opportunity to bring this topic forward and have a discussion on it. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our honorable guest, Shafika Pabe, who is a senior job coach from Yayasan Gamuda Enabling Academy. Welcome, Shafika. So how are you doing today?
Hi, welcome. And happy World Autism Month. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so before we proceed with other questions, can you share with us more a bit about yourself and your job?
Okay, sure. All of you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so basically, just about myself briefly, this will be my 10th year working with individuals with autism. Before I joined Enabling Academy, I used to be a therapist and I was also a case supervisor for a private company. So I was working more with children and adolescents with autism, and then I move on to adults with autism. I joined Yayasan Gamuda Enabling Academy in 2018. So this will be my third year. I'm a job coach where we support adults, as Kamarina has mentioned, we support adults on the autism spectrum into workplace. So we train them, which I will elaborate more. We train them for 3 months and then we place them into our partner companies. And on top of training the adults with autism, we also do workshops for practitioners on employment transition program. So we have been doing that virtually for the last few months.
Okay, thank you, Shafika. So, for some people, job coaching services can be unfamiliar to them. So, can you tell us a bit about Yayasan Gamuda's Enabling Academy, such as the background, courses provided, the process of the training, the target groups, or intakes, in which how many youth with autism for each batch, and when are they trained?
Okay. So as some of you may have known or heard of Gamuda Berhad. Gamuda, basically the core business is construction, engineering, and infrastructure. But under under Gamuda Berhad, that's Yayasan Gamuda. And for Yayasan Gamuda, we have 3 anchor projects, which is the Gamuda Scholarship, Enabling Academy, and the Star Golden Hearts. So in terms of Enabling Academy, which is under Yayasan Gamuda, is a fully sponsored program. So for the trainees that have been accepted into our program, they do not have to pay anything. So it's free of charge, fully sponsored by Yayasan Gamuda. It's a 3-month employment transition program. The criteria for people to join there, they need to be 21 years old and above. So there are like 4 processes. So it's normally how we would recruit them is they would send in their resume to our email address, and as a team we would select those that are suitable for our program. So our program are for individuals with autism. So of course, one of the requirements to join our program is they have to have an autism diagnosis from an official psychiatrist or psychologist. And if they do not have that and they feel, I mean, they cannot just say that, oh, I think my child has autism, because we as a job coach, we are not licensed to diagnose them. So if they want to apply, they have to have an official diagnosis, and we have to refer to that official diagnosis. And then if our team feel that they are suitable, we would call them for an interview. We don't only just call them, we would also invite the parents or the guardians. So we would interview the candidate and we would also interview the parents and the guardians separately. And beside the verbal interview, we would also have a practical assessment, maybe a short assessment where we give them a Word document and they would just do a typing document just for us to assess on how they are with basic typing skills. Because as our basically our objective is we want to place them into workplace, um, which is one of the reason why we chose that they have to be 21 years old and above. And before they, beside the resume, they also have to send in some of like their academic transcript or if they have any past working experience. And now with COVID-19 and everything, we've also been doing interviews online as well. Yeah, hope that clears things.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Shafika. Uh, Okay, so based on what you explained, it seems that you're very involved with this whole training process. And so, based on those experiences, my next question is I want to ask, like, what are the common stereotypes of people with autism that hinder companies from employing them?
So the common one, with, I mean, there's a few. I think over the years, most companies like that. What common stereotypes that they, I mean, that kind of maybe stop them from hiring people with autism. So, one being maybe they still have low confidence in their ability. Um, so for some employers, they would feel that are these individuals, are they able to be productive? Are these individuals with autism, are they able to contribute to the company's economic growth? That's one of I mean that's your focus today, right? Talking about goal number 8. Um, Worried about some common stereotype behaviors, and I think maybe for both of you have probably seen how the media have portrayed people with autism. Of course, there had been more awareness, but I think some employers before they hire, they would be like, oh, how about if they throw some tantrums, because they tend to generalize people with autism. And I think what some companies or some individuals do not know are these people with the individuals with autism, they come with different characteristics. So they're like a rainbows. Not each of them are the same. But they always feel like, oh, well, if I hire them, will they have some tantrums? Are they able to communicate with us? And then some of them are probably like employers. Some of them are worried about, will they be getting that support? Once they want to hire them, but are they able to get that support from people? And then I think they would also question, or like when they would communicate with us, like the process of hiring. Some of them ask about, how about their salary? Will it be the same as neurotypicals, or will their benefits still be like us? How should we talk to them and everything? So those are probably some of the common stereotypes that they have with people with autism.
Okay, thank you, Shafika. Okay, from the common stereotypes mentioned by Shafika, we can see that PWDs were still struggling to even get a job to pay for their daily or monthly living expenses. Therefore, in regards to the 8 SDGs on sustainable employment for all, how do job coach services ensure the inclusivity of young adults with autism in professional jobs and position in corporate setting despite the stereotypes? So, does your organization provide trained job coaches for the whole duration of employment for PWDs? So, can you please elaborate on this?
So thanks for the question. The key word that we normally use is we will support. We will have an ongoing support. So I think the keyword ongoing sort of makes like employers maybe feel comfortable. But the process that we have in Enabling Academy, once we place our trainees with autism into their company, we do not just say bye bye, or like we just don't leave. Okay, you just take the trainee and then. Yeah, you support on your own. Well, that's not how we would do it. Normally, even like let's just say they are interested in a candidate, they see the candidate's resume, and we also recommend that they're able to work in a certain company. We would have an awareness session. Maybe we start with a management level awareness session where we talk about what is autism. So for example, we have an awareness session for company A, and maybe the top management would first have it with us. All the bosses would meet up with us, and we would present maybe a 30-minute presentation on what is autism, and what are how do how would people support people with autism at the workplace. And then not only that, we would maybe also talk about specifically the candidate that they want to hire. We talk about that candidate. We provide some guidelines and on how to support, and then from a management level, if they are okay with it, then we would go into a department level. The department that wants to hire these individuals, we would encourage the department, everyone in the department, to attend our awareness session. So everyone in the department would know how to support these individuals. And then each of us are assigned to a trainee or a graduate. So when they go for training, and even after they go into the workplace, we would normally, it depends. So we as a job coach would talk to the company, and we would also recommend the company, if they want to hire a certain individual with autism into their company, we would recommend them to have a consistent supervisor and a buddy. It's not only a good transition for them, especially at the early stage, it's also good for us. So we would have one or two people that we would commonly communicate with, like through WhatsApp or through phone calls or even meetups with them. And once we have placed them into the workplace, we would, maybe the first few weeks or the first few months, we would intensively communicate with the supervisor or the buddy, and we would ask, oh, how are they? And then maybe after a month, we would have an evaluation with the supervisor. So we would ask, like, okay, we would have an assessment that they would need to fill in, like how are they at work and everything. But with that being said, that not all individuals are the same. Some of our graduates, once they are placed and we have done the awareness session, even though they have a buddy and a supervisor, they're quite independent, or they are very independent, and they're capable to just have a good transition. And maybe we as a job coach don't really need to communicate with the company as much. So it's very individualized, and it really depends on the needs of the graduates. So I think that's how we want to maintain this inclusivity. We would provide ongoing support, and even though we do say ongoing support, again, it's very individualized. Maybe some of them we would just keep in touch once a month, or once every 3 months, or even once a year, once they're very independent already.
So, following on your elaboration and explanation, what kinds of other trainings does your academy provide for these young adults with autism to prepare them for employment? Like, how long are the training? You mentioned there is no fee, right? And or maybe is it the training, is it carried out one to one, or is it in a group?
Okay, so before they're placed into the workplace, as I mentioned earlier, that our program is a 3 months program. So once they are accepted, we would have our course. Our program is divided into two courses, course 1 and course 2. So course 1 is it's more because in our office we have a classroom setting. So for course 1, they would normally have to attend classroom sessions, and it will be for 1.5 months, where they have to go through some personal development for career sustainability, where they have to go through some topics and some modules, where each of the job coaches or the facilitator, they take turns. We take turns to conduct a topic. So the topic that they have to do is more in a classroom setting, where topics related to employment, how to have what are right behaviors to work, and maybe there are some personal topics on dating, relationship, how to maintain a healthy lifestyle, how to have work-life balance. So we have topics like that. So that's course number 1. It's normally for 1.5 months, where they have to, typically it will be conducted in the morning. So after they are done with the classroom session, for the rest of the day, they will have to be doing course 2. So course 2 is job skills development. So for job skills, it's a practical they have to do practical work. So each of the trainees that are accepted into a program, they have a workstation. So they have their own PC, they have their own like computer, they have their own like workstation basically, and what they have, and they are normally typically for course two, they're assigned to some maybe some administrative tasks, scanning, filing, data entry on Excel, and even on an accounting software. But because, as I had mentioned, each of them are different, even though our focus on are mainly like administrative sort of tasks for our training purpose, some of them even have a master's and some of them have some working experience. So we try to make it very individualized. And if we feel that the trainee, so we're very flexible, even though we have mentioned 3 months program. But if we feel that the trainee is capable to work sooner, we would actually place them maybe for a job trial first, or internship in maybe in our own company, or internship elsewhere. So we observe through there, and for even during the course one and course two, we also observe their soft skills. How are they, with the other co-trainees? How are they at receiving instruction? How are they socializing with each other at work? And yeah, so it's 3 months, and normally our minimum number of our maximum number of trainees that we accept, before COVID-19, it would be 10 trainees, because it's very individualized, and each of us have 2 or 3 trainees per batch. We have 2 batches a year. But I think since COVID-19, we have changed things a bit, where because of SOP restrictions, right now our maximum number, we can only accept about 5 trainees per batch. Currently there's batch 8 that is running right now. So we only have about 4 trainees. But in the previous years, maximum number would be about 10, and all of them would be assigned to a job coach. So our manager Swilan would assign us to each trainee, and we would have to follow up with the trainees. But even though they're assigned to job coaches, they're free to talk to other job coaches, of course. And because some of the other job coaches also teaches, some of them teach the lesson, so each of them would be able to have chances to talk to all the other job coaches.
Okay, just now you mentioned about the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So actually, we can see that the economy of not only Malaysia but also other countries as well are being affected by the pandemic COVID-19. So it is safe to say that most companies will more likely to limit their workers in order to decrease their costs. So in relation to this, what alternative measures have been put into place by the academy to prepare young adults with autism for employment, especially with the current pandemic?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I actually, that question has been asked by other practitioners too, because for those that are running a center or something, but they do ask how is Enabling Academy running the session with COVID-19. I think I have mentioned earlier that we have changed and we have tried to be more flexible on things. So some of the thing was that we have changed maybe earlier, especially last year. We have done some interviews online, and the recent batch, not the one that we're having right now, but the one that started in September, because there was MCO that was established in October. So they had their last part of the training online. So we had online session where we would assign tasks online. We would use SharePoint, which is something like Google Drive, and we would have our lessons in course one would also be virtually. Our meeting would be virtually, and I think something that's common these days, maybe also in universities as well. But in terms of supporting our trainees or our graduates with autism, I think definitely there has been some sort of impact, where last year, before actually in March, we had a batch in March, and then COVID-19 really it was on the rise, and MCO happened. So a lot of them, or not a lot of them, but a few of them were waiting for jobs. A lot of companies now is going back to normal slowly, but last year, like a lot of companies also freeze recruitment. So they couldn't hire a lot of our graduates, and because of that, a lot of graduates had to wait for employment. But we do keep in touch with them, and not only that, companies were freezing recruitment, but there were some that lost their job due to COVID-19. So I think it's a common, it happened to even the neurotypicals. So some of them are still waiting for a job, and but we will support them, no matter what, like even those, and some of them have been working from home, they're adjusting to that. So as a job push, we do help them support on their working from home rotation, because I think working from home is a bit different, or there's a lot of differences compared to working in the office. And what else? And then we would also recommend, if those that are waiting for a job, we would talk to them and we would ask, like, what are they doing now? We would even recommend to some programs that maybe they can upskill some of their current skills. For example, Pajana, Perjaya, Perkeso. But nevertheless, even though, with the current pandemic and everything, we do still have companies that are interested to hire them, and we do try to still recruit partner companies. Would still keep in touch with companies that are interested. Maybe companies do not want to immediately hire our trainees, but maybe they want to start with a 3-month contract first, or 6 months. So we're very open to any ideas. If they want to just check, if they want to see how our trainees or graduates work first, we're open if they just want to have a job trial or provide internship with them first. So we try to keep in touch with the latest news and everything.
Okay, thank you, Shafika, for your answer. So this brings us to another question. As you mentioned, since in light of COVID-19, the companies have been freezing recruitments. So, but do you think the government affirmative policy for public departments to employ at least 1% PWDs in their workforce has had that impact in increasing the employability rate among PWDs? Or are there any challenges that have hindered this progress? And what do you think, how could this be improved?
Okay, so yeah, I think it's quite common, right? That 1%. I mean, it's new. I mean, it's not new news already, but I think that's definitely an impact. And I was just discussing with some of my colleagues, but then I think the awareness on the policy may still be low. So they may be. I mean, even though when we do our awareness session, we tell that, we inform that information to the companies. Some of them, it's really news to them, like they're not aware of that such policy. And the 1% policy is not mandated, so it's not a must. And thus, because of that, most government agencies have yet to achieve the 1%. So I would say that there's still, I mean, yeah, it's still has still not achieved that 1% recommendation. I think maybe there are more private company sectors that are opening opportunities for people with disabilities. For example, we have McDonald's, who I think in total they have about 212, KFC, Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, I think total 162, Aeon 120. So they are more taking that, chances. So they have employed more people with disabilities nationwide. And then at EA, we have managed to encourage about 30 companies. So EA Enabling Academy, mainly, actually, most of them are private companies. So in total, we have trained about 63 trainees, and we are partnering up with more than about 30 companies. So some of the companies have actually hired more than more than one person with autism. Yeah, I think despite of its benefits to hire PWDs in the workforce, I think, like as I have mentioned, employers still probably have low expectations of them. They probably still feel that, they're not able to be productive, and all the other stereotype comments I have mentioned before.
Okay, so we can see that despite the government policy mentioned by Kamarina before, and based on what you have said, it seems that the employability rate of PWC are still facing multiple challenges. So this raises a question, in employing PWDs in Malaysia, which organization have been employing PWDs the most? And how do they collaborate with your academy on this matter?
Okay, so I mean, I'm speaking on behalf right now on behalf of Anime Academy. In terms of types of industries that have employed our graduates or our graduates with autism, it really varies from public listed ones to private companies. So we have really big, well-known companies to even private Cinder and Berhad companies. Currently, as I have mentioned, we have placed our graduates to more than 30 partner companies, all private companies. In terms of taking more than one graduate, we have a few companies. Or I think almost 30 companies. Yeah. In terms of taking more than one graduate, we have a few companies who have done so. We have 3 banks that are currently our partner companies. So we have HSBC who have hired 3 of our graduates, and still interested to hire even during this pandemic. Our future graduates that they if they feel or if we feel that they might be suitable for HSBC's job scope, they are still open to the idea to hire more. We also have OCBC who have hired 2 of our graduates. So beside banks, we also have 4 of our graduates working in DRB Highcom. Then we have 3 of our graduates working under Maran Timber. This is me just talking about those that are hiring more than one. And we also have 2 working in Uniqlo. And the rest of the companies that we have partnered up with, most of them have hired at least one. Yeah.
Okay, throughout the webinar session, we have seen that providing job coaching services like what have been done by the Enabling Academy has contributed to the efforts in making sustainable employment among PWDs possible. We have talked about the services provided by Enabling Academy for young adults with autism, the training provided, and also how job coaching services in general are capable of ensuring inclusivity despite the stereotypes and challenges. Okay, so we have been collecting questions from people on this topic to be answered by our speaker. If any of our participants have question, you can drop it, the question in the chat box, or you can open your mic. But first, let's start our Q&A session with the first question. Okay, Puan Shafika, based on your experience in this service, have you seen a yearly increase in demand or interest? For instance, are more individuals applying along the years and etc.?
Sorry, I think.
Yes?
Okay. Yes.
Do you want me to
you're
repeat
asking
again?
me- Yeah. Basically, you're asking me if are more individuals with autism applying into our program over the years.
Uh, I think the question asking about the there. I think that's the
Yes.
question.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say. Let me see. Okay. We feel that the number has just been about the same, like consistent. Um, no, like maybe certain batch there maybe more. I wouldn't say it's like yearly increase or anything. We do have 2 batches a year, and for COVID-19, we normally have intake in January and we have an intake in July. But I think now with COVID-19, we have changed the month a bit. We do have calls, we still have inquiries going on, and if we feel that the candidate is suitable, we would ask them to apply. But I wouldn't say that every year there's an increase. Maybe now there's more awareness. We are still trying to promote our program as much as we can, and because our criteria is they need to be 21 years old and above, and they may need some academic qualification because our objective is we want to place them in the workplace. So I think some people still do not know about our program. But even though we have been receiving more inquiries, and we are maybe now when you search for us on Google, you might find more articles about us, or more, I think more articles about us definitely, and more, I mean, we're attending more, we're networking more. But in terms of increasing number, I cannot really say that it has increased every year. Maybe the number has remained the same every year, and because we can only select a few per year, especially with COVID-19, we can only select about five. So yeah, it's probably about the same number, but maybe there is more awareness.
Okay, do our participant have question? Any other questions?
Me. Hi, Assalamualaikum. Can you
Hello.
hear me?
Yes.
My name is Haida Halid. I'm classmate of Kamarina and Azima. Thank you so much for doing this talk, because this is actually my first time being exposed to the Enabling Academy, and it's very interesting to hear the efforts that are being put into letting persons with disabilities have decent work. And I was wondering if the services provided by the Enabling Academy is specified in certain areas, or is it available for anyone from other states or across the nation? Is it only available for people who are close to the academy, or you're open to anyone?
We're open to anyone. We do have, from, I mean, in 2018 we had a trainee, or now he's a graduate, who was from Sabah actually. We do have, I mean, right now for our current training batch 8, we have 2 from Penang. Of course, more around Klang Valley have applied, maybe because they are here and maybe it's easier for them. But although our program is fully sponsored, but that's just in terms of the courses and everything. But in terms of accommodation and in terms of food and everything, their personal expenses, that's on their own. So for those that have applied from other states like Penang, Johor, or even Sabah, we do tell them that we do not provide accommodation. So if they're interested to attend our program, like 2 from Penang from this round, they have rented a place, or some from Ipoh, they have rented a place, an apartment nearby our academy, and all the transportation is all on their own. So we're very open for them to apply. And then in terms of job placement, we do ask them. Some of them are actually interested, even they don't mind going to our training in Damansara Jaya. They would maybe prefer to work in the state that their family is in. But that is case to case, because I think sometimes finding a job at their state might be a bit difficult. So some of them are very open, even though they're quite far from the family. Like we do have one from Ipoh. He was training with us, but now he's working in KL, so he's still renting the same apartment. So we're very open to from any states, but accommodation is on their own. And if they're open to the idea of working in KL, then that's good. But if they still want us to help them maybe find a job in their state, then we would try. But we do not promise them. I mean, employment is not promised. That's part of our policy. We even tell them earlier, as much as we would want to support and we would try our best to support, employment is not promised. Yeah.
All right, thank you for the answer.
Thanks for your question.
I also have another question on whether you think the academy has potential to actually focus on certain areas. Like now, the candidates are coming in to you and taking training. Do you think the academy has potential to spread to other nations? And if yes, what do you think are drawbacks that are allowing us to do so?
Okay, right now, because if you go to our website, Enabling Academy, we recently, like last year, we just published our trainer's manual. So our objective for that trainer's manual is we want more employment transition program to be established. So we are currently working with practitioners, NGOs. We're also trying to collaborate with Ministry of Education, MOE. MOE have for special education or pendidikan khas sector, they have most of them have already have hold of our manual. So our objective is we want to create more employment transition program. We're open for that, and the workshop that we provide over the last few months, based on our manual and based on our program, is free of charge again. So we have had, NGOs. We even have had some teachers from special education. They're interested in it, but I think in terms of MOE, I cannot really comment because I think they also have their own agenda. Because for them they have their own, I would say, SOP and everything. So maybe they have interest in it, but maybe it'll still take them a while for that. But in terms of NGOs, even though some of their centers already have an employment transition program, but we do, as I have mentioned from the workshop, what I have heard from them, maybe some centers or some individuals that do want to set up more employment transition program, maybe budget can also be an issue. Maybe that could be one of the drawbacks. And maybe for some of them, they do not have a clear objective or a clear objective of how they want to run the program. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for your answer.
Welcome.
Okay, Shafika, we have the last question. Marina, you want to ask?
I have a question on the you mentioned about the courses that the academy provided. So there are two courses, right? There's course 1 and course 2. So you did mention that in course 2, the individuals, the persons with the trainees, they have their own workstation, right? So I'm curious to know if that workstation, since you said that this whole training process is individualized, so I'm wondering if those workstation, is it like a simulation based on their individualized characteristics, or maybe there are certain like general simulation that can be applied to every persons with disabilities?
It's a setup. I think you are, if Kamarina, Azima, and your classmates are interested to visit us. Right now, we're still working on rotation, but we are open for visitors. We do have some students, and we also have some, from companies and everything. So if you're open, if you want to see how our center is run, you can just contact me. But in terms of like what you said, if it's very individualized, no, it's not. For workstation, no. They use the same. Everyone would use the same PC, would use the same keyboard. The chairs are all just office chairs. But right now, of course, with SOP, we do try to social distance them, and some of them are very particular about that. So they would also, all of them would. We practice just wearing the mask and for some of them, they're very, they know all of the SOP rule and everything. And and I forgot to mention for Gamuda, just in general in Gamuda, we are required to take the fortnightly or every 2 weeks we are required to do the swab test. So each of us every 2 weeks, because now some of us are based in office and they're also in the office, so they would have to go the swab test with us. They don't have to pay anything. It's under Gamuda. So everything is the same, but maybe they have their own drawer. Maybe for some of them, we do have some trainees. They want to have some stress ball with them. So they would try to use stress ball, every time when they feel a bit stressed, they would have stress ball. And of course, I think some of you may know that people with autism, some of them do self-talk. They have their own monologue on their own. And if they feel that they need that private time, we are open to the idea that they can go to a separate room for a bit, short break. But of course, we do tell them, our objective is we want to place them to the workplace. And if that's something that, if they need breaks commonly, then that's something we have to analyze again if they're really ready for work or not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Welcome.
Okay, we have a final question. So do you have any words of encouragement, especially for younger generation, to contribute to the efforts of PWDs in general?
Okay, words of encouragement. Now I feel a bit old. Well, when I first started this job, I was 23, so I just finished graduating, and this is like talking about 10 years ago. I think now awareness is better and everything. So I think a lot of people, even like I think common Asian parents, or not from my parents, because my parents have been supportive, but some of them would feel like, oh, what do you want to do with you helping the community and everything. It's maybe for some people, it will be fight. They would maybe face some financial problems, maybe, right? Because being in this field, maybe you won't be paid that much. So I think being in this field, when I first started the job, working with people with individuals with autism, some people are like, oh, what do you really want to do with a psychology degree at that time? But I think I have probably made the right choice. I think working with individuals with autism personally, it's not just them learning from me, because some of them I have established a good friendship with them. Because with adults with autism, some of them, with those that have lower support, that just need minimal support, some of them can really be your friends. And it's taking perspective into perspective from the other side. They most of them really have pure hearts, and I think working with them, it just, they do not only learn from us, but I also learn from them a lot. And in terms of not just personally, but I think their work capabilities, I've seen people with autism, they're very, as I have mentioned, very sincere, and very, if it's work time, it's really work time. They try to really find that rezeki halal. So it's like, no, break time is break time, and work time is work time. So for some of them, they're very good at that. So I really see that. And with them again, for some of them, office politics or office gossip is not really like, it's not known for them. So yeah, so I think they really make use of their working hours. And yeah, and as I mentioned, as much as I keep mentioning that I'm a trainer, or I'm job coaching, supporting them, I have also learned a lot from them. So for young people who are interested in this field and want to do this job, I think beside the money part, or there's also that other accomplishment, which is passion. I think you will accomplish something else that's even bigger.
Thank you so much, Shafika. So with this, we have finally come to the end of our session. Me and my partner would like to thank our speaker for today, Shafika Pabe, for joining us and gladly shares her opinion on this topic. We hope that the 8 sustainable goals, decent work and academic growth will be achieved in the near future. We wish Enabling Academy to prosper well, and may this webinar benefit us all. And as a reminder, we should play our role as a society in encouraging inclusiveness of persons with disability. Before we end our session, let's have a photo session. If any of you can open your camera, that will great. We will wait in a bit.
I have also in the chat type in our website, and I think for those that are interested in our manual, you can also email us, and we can send you the e-manual link. If you don't want the hard copy, normally for hard copy we would just give to organization. If your university would want to be interested in it, and then I also provided my email address.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, anyone? Okay, it's okay. Okay, ready in 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for being here with us today, and those who are watching right now. Stay tuned to your social media account for more webinar series on disability inclusion. Thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Puan Shafika.
Good luck with your studies.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.